hope God will give you peace with this. Baby, I love you. Ron, give Peggy a hug for me. Everybody has been so good to me. I love all of you very much. I am going to be face to face with Jesus now. Ward.
In the dimly lit corridors of history, there are stories that challenge our beliefs about justice, redemption, and the human spirit. Among them, few are as haunting, as controversial, and as unforgettable as the story of Karla Faye Tucker, the woman who shocked the world, not only with the brutality of her crime, but also with the extraordinary transformation she underwent behind prison walls. Her tale begins like many others lost in the shadows of addiction, poverty, and broken homes, but it ends in a way that continues to stir debate decades later. To truly understand who Karla Faye Tucker was, we must step back into her childhood. Born on November 18, 1959, in Houston, Texas, Karla's life was never easy. Her family struggled, and she grew up in a chaotic environment where dysfunction seemed normal. By the time she was just 8 years old, Karla was introduced to drugs, an introduction that would soon become a destructive habit, shaping much of her teenage and young adult life. By her early teens, she had already fallen into the world of sex, drugs, and rebellion. School meant little to her, and survival became her way of life. She began following her mother into bars, learning how to manipulate, how to charm, and how to numb the growing emptiness within her. It was during these years that Karla's personality formed two distinct sides: the wild, reckless young woman who would do anything to feel alive, and the deeply sensitive girl hiding inside, craving love, acceptance, and belonging. Her life was a pendulum swinging between destruction and desperation. By the time she was in her early 20s, Karla was heavily addicted to heroin and cocaine. Her crowd was the rough, biker world of Houston, men and women living on the edge, chasing highs, and spiraling into violence. And it was in this world that Karla met a man who would change her life forever, but not in the way most people might imagine. His name was Danny Garrett. He was tough, unpredictable, and as lost as she was. The two formed a toxic, passionate bond, a love story born out of chaos and destined for tragedy. In 1983, the choices Karla and Danny made culminated in a night that would mark them both forever. Fueled by drugs, anger, and a desperate need for thrills, Karla, Danny, and another accomplice named James Leigh Brandt broke into the apartment of Jerry Dean, a man who had crossed paths with them in the biker community. What started as a plan to steal quickly escalated into something far darker. Jerry Dean was asleep in his bedroom when they entered. The confrontation was brutal, violent, and senseless. Danny attacked Jerry with a hammer, and in the chaos, Karla picked up a pickaxe. What happened next became the stuff of headlines and nightmares. Karla, high and consumed by rage, struck Jerry multiple times with the pickaxe until his life was gone. But the violence didn't stop there. Another woman, Deborah Thornton, was in the apartment that night. She too became a victim of Karla's rage, as Karla turned the pickaxe on her as well. It was a double murder that shocked Houston. But what shocked people even more was Karla's reaction in the days after. She reportedly bragged about the killings, even claiming that she had experienced a twisted kind of pleasure, an orgasmic rush, with every swing of the pickaxe. These chilling words would haunt her trial and play a major role in the jury's decision. Karla Faye Tucker was arrested in 1983 and charged with capital murder. From the very beginning, the evidence was overwhelming. She confessed to the killings, and her chilling testimony painted her as a cold-blooded murderer. In 1984, she was sentenced to death. At just 24 years old, Karla became one of the youngest women in Texas history to receive the death penalty. For most people, the story could have ended there. Another violent criminal sentenced for a brutal crime. But Karla's journey took a turn that few could have predicted. Behind bars, away from the drugs, the biker world, and the chaos, she began to change. At first, prison was nothing more than survival. Again, another environment, where toughness meant safety. But over time, something inside Karla began to shift. She was introduced to Christianity by prison ministries who visited inmates. At first, she resisted. Faith felt foreign to her. God was a concept she hadn't known in her chaotic upbringing. But slowly, the words she heard began to resonate. The Bible became a source of comfort, and prayer became a way to confront the guilt she had long buried. Karla later described the moment she truly broke down. It was when she realized the depth of the pain she had caused, not just to her victims, but to their families. The weight of her crimes crushed her, and for the first time in her life, she allowed herself to weep, not for herself, but for the lives she had destroyed. Over the next decade, Karla became known not as the wild biker girl who had killed with a pickaxe, but as a transformed woman who lived her faith openly. She became a mentor to other inmates, a symbol of redemption, and even a public figure. Reporters, pastors, and even politicians came to see her, curious about the woman whose story defied the stereotypes of death row. But Texas was not easily swayed. The state had not executed a woman in over 100 years, and Karla's case became a national debate about crime, punishment, mercy, and redemption. Her supporters argued that she had truly changed, that executing her served no purpose, and that her life in prison could inspire countless others. Her opponents argued just as passionately that her crimes had been horrific, that justice for Jerry Dean and Deborah Thornton demanded the ultimate punishment, and that her transformation, however real, could not erase the past. The closer Karla's execution date came, the louder the debate grew. Appeals were filed, petitions were signed, and international attention poured in. Even Pope John Paul II requested clemency for Karla, asking the state of Texas to commute her sentence to life in prison. But Governor George W. Bush, who would later become president, refused. In his eyes, and in the eyes of the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles, the law was clear: Karla had committed brutal murders, and the sentence must be carried out. On February 3, 1998, Karla Faye Tucker was led into the execution chamber at the Huntsville Unit Inn, Texas. She was 38 years old. Lying on the gurney, she looked out through the glass at the witnesses. Her voice was calm, steady, and filled with a strange peace. She smiled, said she was going to be with Jesus, and expressed love for everyone watching. Then, as the lethal injection flowed into her veins, she closed her eyes. Moments later, she was pronounced dead. The story of Karla Faye Tucker did not end with her death. To this day, she remains a symbol of the tension between justice and mercy, punishment and redemption. Was she a cold-blooded killer who deserved her fate, or a reformed woman whose life could have been spared? That question continues to divide people across the world.